lot about the word agility. It seems to pop up repeatedly, particularly in the vernacular since 2020. And you refer to 4 dimensions of agility across 4 different settings: a strategy, organization, leader, and the individual. How do you define agility?
Well, you've hit on one of the very important points there. So if I go back a step on why I pick on agility, it took some time out to really study this and work through this in terms of what are the practical implications of future of work, this thing called future of work. And the first thing, of course, you discover when you look at future of work, there's no such thing. It's just a label of convenience that's used to capture so many topics, from robotics to generations, etc. But when you strip it all back, there's 3 dimensions to it. It's like a fusion. The future of work is like a fusion between business adaptability, organizational agility, our ability to be able to look internally to mobilize resources to and pivot resources as needed, and the changing nature of work and the workplace. So for me, that kind of is a start, because future of work, I get kind of annoyed when I see future of work. Well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? What problem are you trying to solve for? What specifically? So the fusion of business adaptability, organizational agility, and the changing nature of work and workplace at least gives you a couple of things to grab hold of and work with, right?
Absolutely.
Evaluate yourself as an organization as to where you are on those 3 things. And when you look particularly at the human and organizational implications or necessities for all of this change, increase in technology, etc., increased complexity, you always end up, the roads always end up with this need for agility. And I know it's kind of very, passé, but for me, it's an interesting one, because and call it adaptability, call it flexibility, whatever you want, but agility, if we could solve for agility, if we could understand agility more and make it as a more proactive, deliberate capability, rather than a responsive, reactive, kind of almost ad hoc quality that we rely on from one crisis to another, if it could be that more proactive, positive, growth-orientated quality or capability, we would be doing a lot to prepare ourselves for whatever change comes, because we don't know what changes are going to come. We don't know where the world is going to be and what the next...
I suppose really the pivot that some businesses and even the world of education had to take within a week, turn around and change from face-to-face to online delivery. That's an example of agility.
That's an example, and there's tons. As the human race, we have been masters of agility. We are still here. We have been, look at the vaccine, for goodness sake. I mean, it's incredible. So our ability and our ingenuity to be able to deal with adversity, crisis, and opportunity. But my contention is that when it comes to the inherent qualities of agility, it's almost like when something happens, it's more of a reactive quality rather than a proactive.
Fire brigade stuff.
So this is the important factor, because one of the things in breaking agility down to at individual level, I probably, like others, fall into the trap of saying, well, actually there's 3 or 4 skills there. And if we learn those skills, we'll be fine. And we'll be, and there's a temptation to think we can just teach and learn these skills. And I think that's true. I think there are skills that we can learn, and practices, even more important, that we can practice and make agility a daily practice rather than a theoretical thing. But ahead of practices and skills, the work just clearly kind of points to, when you look at examples of people who are thriving in this kind of changing environment, the importance of mindset. In other words, just that I am comfortable, I have a mental inclination and an orientation that accepts the fact that I've got to be open to change, to diverse opinion and experience, that just because I'm the smartest and I got X points, or that I got this, education, that doesn't give me a right or a privilege to know better in a certain circumstance. if I'm open to embracing change rather than trying to control it and contain it, if I'm being purpose-led, if you like, rather than being driven by a corporate goal or just a metric only. So I've described in the book sort of some of the qualities, some of the attributes of what an agile mindset looks like. And I've given some examples, even the way somebody might respond to a particular situation. I think I gave a couple examples. One was, you look at somebody who gets a professional sports person who gets a really bad injury. What's their mental reactive response to that? Is, oh my God, this is terrible, my career is over. Or I accept the reality of it and I start to say, actually, this is going to be an opportunity to work on other things in my physiology or whatever to make me better when I come out of it. I gave an example of a lady I talked to in the research who was working with a technology company. And she was telling me about the project that she was on. She was part of this working group, the purpose of which was to automate her job.
Wow.
And I was kind of guy, I said she was very, very, positive. I said, any downside you see in this work? And she said, look, I'm really enjoying it. It's fascinating. It's my particular discipline. It's really interesting to see where it's going in the future and where technology is coming in. She says, if I've got this opportunity to be involved in that transition, not be a victim of it. Yes. And I will take the learning from that and I will progress either with that discipline or I'll move into others.
Something else. Yeah.
And for me, that was just an example, Teresa, of what we mean by mindset.